Inspired Junk Journalers. I am continuing on in my quick neutral mass make series, and this time I'm going to make little booklets. So I've got 6 different varieties of booklets to show you. These are just cute to tuck into a pocket or a belly band or different things into your journals, and it gives you a little bit of extra writing space in just a tiny little package. So I'm just going to show you quickly how to make these different variations. So we'll start with this one. This is probably the simplest one. And this one is just a front and a back cover. There's a couple of pages in between. This one has a tiny little pocket here. And I put a tab. I have a whale tail tab punch, but you could use any kind of tab there. You could even make your own. And I put an eyelet in the middle there. So I'm just going to show you how to make that one. Super simple. So I just took a strip of paper. This was just a scrap, so I made my booklet the size of the scrap. This particular one is 8 inches by 1.5 inches. And I cut it in, or I folded it in half. I cut some pages. These pages I actually folded in half as well. Just 2 pieces and then folded them in half. And the pages are 1.5 by 4, so I did exactly the same size as the booklet there. So I just fold those up and stick those inside, and then probably put a little bit of glue on my tab here at the bottom here anyway, and just stick that on the bottom. Kind of line up the top of these wing things with the top of the booklet. Doesn't have to be like that, but and I'm going to put a little bit of glue there, and then I'm just going to set an eyelet at the top, and that will help. Well, it'll hold the pages in. It won't help the pages. It'll actually do the holding, because at this point the pages are still loose. So we will put the eyelet in. So I want to punch the eyelet mostly underneath the top ridge there, so that it can hold the pages in place like that. And I'll just grab an eyelet. Decide what you want for your front cover if your pages are different. And set the eyelet. Just like that, you have a super quick little notepad. So that can stick into any kind of pocket, a really thin pocket. This one, because I had a longer piece of paper, I decided to just fold up. That was just about 1.25 inches. I just folded up 1.25 inches, and then I folded the rest in half. So then you just have just a tiny little pocket for, you could stick a little ticket in there or whatever. There is a pocket there, I promise. But so that's the first version. Super simple. So the second version is very simple as well, and it's a similar one. But this one, the booklet opens from the top, and the pages are attached in the bottom. So it's sort of a matchbook, not actually really a matchbook, but, and then to close it, you just tuck this part into the tab at the top there. So for that one, I have a couple of pieces. These are going to be, well, I'll probably trim them off a little bit. So I have a couple of pieces of paper. You could have one piece and fold it up this way if you want, but I'm just going to have mine separate. And the papers, I have it just folded in half, and it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 folded. So I just took 11 8.5 by 11 strip of paper and folded it in half basically. And then I will, did I touch? Yeah, I touched the whole thing here. So I'm just going to line everything up at the bottom. So this is my front cover. This is my pages. I'm going to put the fold at the bottom, and I'm going to put my back cover and line everything up at the bottom. And then I'm just going to staple it. All right. Okay, so wherever my paper is here, I'm just going to cut off the front and the back cover to be even with the paper. If you had longer paper, you could just leave this on. So I'm just going to trim those off like that. Then I have another tab here, and this tab I'm just going to attach to the back. So put a bit of glue on there. Once you get going with these, you can just kind of use your imagination and create a bunch of different, you know, look at the different pieces of scraps that you have and what you want to use. So this time I want to set an eyelet in here, but I don't want it to come below that edge because I don't want to catch these pages into the eyelet. So I'm just going to do the eyelet, and I don't want to glue this on the front at all. So I'm just going to put my eyelet just in the top part, like that. Set that one. And then what we have is a booklet that comes, the pages come off of the tab and they're tucked underneath there. And then this part is glued on the back like that. And then on the first one, I just took a little piece of just some decorative, this is some extra paper that I was using recently. So I'm just going to cut a little piece of that, the width of my book. And I'm just going to glue that on. I might just fold it in half before I glue it. And I just fold that over the edge. And the purpose of that is basically just to give a little bit of interest to the booklet and to hide the staples if you want to hide the staples. So there is my second booklet, which is the front. So here's the front. There's my little pages, tucks in like that. And of course you can decorate these however you like, but this particular one I put a little bulb clip in the top so I can hang a charm or something from that one. But there's our second little booklet. Okay, so here's our third little booklet. So this one, I just had a little piece of paper that was like kind of a wood grain looking paper. And this one was 11 by 2.5. And again, I really just used what I had here. So this one I have stapled at the top, and then I fold this over and I attached that, or I closed it with a piece of Velcro. So that's our little booklet. So I'll show you how to make that one. This is just a piece of digital that I had used with another one of my my projects, and it is 11 inches wide by 11 inches long rather by 3 inches wide, and it's printed on both sides. You don't really have to do that. And then I just cut 3 little pieces of this is just plain loose leaf paper, and these are, I think I just did it a 1/4 inch shorter, so 4 3/4 by 2 3/4. This I just folded up 1 inch, and then I folded it in half. Okay, so then I just put this in here. Did I? I think what I probably did on the other one is staple these first and then just glue this onto here. And another thing, if you're doing staples, sometimes especially if the staples are going to show, sometimes I'll take a pliers and I'll just squish the staples, and then that way you won't be able to catch your fingers on the staples if they're sticking out a little bit. Ask me how I know that. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue just on the top here and glue that into here. I'm not taking the time to ink any of these or decorate them. I'm just showing you kind of the construction, but of course you can do all kinds of things on these. And then that just folds shut like that. You could put a piece of washi tape or something across there to make that, to hide the staples and just kind of give it a little extra look, extra interest, I guess. And then on this little flap here, I'm just going to round the corners. And then I'm going to put on a piece of Velcro. So this is just the self-adhesive Velcro dots. I usually put another little drop of glue just to reinforce it, make sure it doesn't come off at some point. And then I put this one on upside down here. Oops. And close this up. And then I'll just leave that to so the glue dries for a couple of seconds, and then it just basically closes like that, opens, and you've got your little pad of paper here. You could put a little pocket back there. You can decorate the covers, but that is the third booklet done. You can make a bunch of these very quickly. You know, it's another one that you can just, you know, grab a bunch of scraps, whatever you have for scraps, and just, you know, start making little booklets. This one is very similar to the other ones, but I made it into a tag shape just to give a little bit more interest in that way. And this one opens from the bottom, so it's very similar to the first one, except it's a tag shape. So I have a piece of cardstock. This is just scrapbook paper. This particular one is 8 inches long by 2.5 inches. And I cut a few pieces of paper just to fit into there. This one, again, I don't really need to glue anything because I'm going to use this tab and eyelet to hold the pages in. I just put a little bit of glue on the sides because it just holds those sides in place. You don't really have to. Then when I punch my eyelet, I want to make sure that I am into the paper, past that top fold. So I'm into the paper, so I'm going to hold the paper in place. Grab an eyelet. Come on. And just set the eyelet there. So this would be cute just like that. You could use it just like that. Or you could give it a tag shape rather. So this side would actually be perfect here on my corner cards. So I'll just cut that there. Make sure you don't cut your tab off. Turn it over and cut the other side. This one I'm just going to move over a tiny bit because I didn't want to cut off that tab. So then you kind of have a tag shape. That one I probably would have, it's kind of exaggerated of a tag shape, but there's your little tag shaped booklet. And again, you know, decorate that, decorate this, and this one already, this paper had that at the bottom, but you could put a piece of lace or something at the bottom. Lots of things, really fun things. I'll show you some ideas for decorating at the end. But that's, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, I think. 1, 2, 3, but I think I have a fourth one somewhere. Yeah, here, 4. Okay, so here's the 5th one. And this one is just kind of an open, exposed booklet. This one I have a little pocket on as well, a couple of pieces of paper. So this one I just folded over. So I'll show you how to make that one. So this piece of paper is 6 inches by 2 inches. Actually, I think I used a 6-inch paper pad for this one. That's why it's 6 inches. Just cut that little white off there. And then this one, I'm going to make this into a little bit of a pocket. I'm just going to put a little bit of a notch at the bottom there. And then on this flat part, oh, I should tell you the measurements. So it's 6 inches long, and the pocket is 1 1/4 inches, and the top flap is 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just gonna round the corners of this top flap thing, and I'm going to take my paper. This paper is, I just noticed I cut it. I cut it so this is sideways, but that's okay because you can use a paper pad either way. It doesn't have to be that way. So I'm just going to line this up at the top, center it from side to side. I'm going to open this flap, and I'm going to staple this pad in place. And then I'm going to, because these are exposed at the back, I'm going to just give them a little bit of a press. It really does help if you do this. It just flattens out those edges, and you can just run your finger there or grab your little paper pad, and you're not going to get cut. Then I'm just going to glue this down, glue the flap down, and glue the pocket up. And if you don't like the white on these ones, you can, stamp it or ink it, or use two-sided paper, or glue another piece of paper on top, or, lots of different things. When I'm putting it into a journal, if I use a bit of a grungy journal, I probably will. I could even do a little bit of coffee dyeing in there. So the staples don't show now here. They are on the back, but you can't even see them on this part. And you have a little pocket tuck in the center there. So, and this one can go this way. So that is the 5th little booklet. And the last style that I'm going to show you, they're all very similar and simple, and I mean, like I said, you can keep going and going. This one is similar to that one I just finished making, except instead of having a backing built into it, I'm going to put it on top of a journal card. So this is just a journal card that says noted, that I have in my membership group right now, and I just stapled a couple of little pieces of paper. I can glue this down here. And then I can glue this. I can glue the whole thing down, which I think I will. Or I can just glue the top part. But because this one's not even backed at the back, I think I'll just glue the whole thing down. I'm always looking for some little bit, make sure I'm right side up. I always am looking for some extra writing space. We're doing a journal in our membership group right now called Ponder the Word. And it's all in these neutrals. That's why I'm doing neutrals right now. But I am always looking for extra writing space because there's so much that I want to take notes on. So I'm adding extra little bits of places to write on all over. So here's a couple of my little booklets there. And most of these projects I'm making on this quick mass make series here. So there is one that is just on the back of a journal card, and there's a tiny little notebook back there. So, there's quite a bit of extra room for a little bit of writing space there. And here's one that I made this card in one of the Quick Neutral Mass Makes as well. This was just the one where I stamped and just made little bits of ephemera. So I stamped, and then just put a little bit together on a piece of cardstock, folded it in half, and made a little booklet thing. So I thought this would be kind of cute to put a little notepad in the center of there as well for some extra space. This one actually is on the back, so I probably will just glue the top part. And I have this little piece here handy, so I might as well use this. Of course, you can make these little booklets in any color, any of your papers. I'm doing this series all in neutrals because of, like I said, that my my project that I'm doing right now is all neutrals. So, and it is kind of nice to do neutrals ephemera like this, and then you can always add decorations afterwards. I'll show you in a minute a couple of ideas, but so then I just stapled that onto there. This I can glue on the top. And then for this one, I think I'm just going to glue this part, because I can also write on the back of here. And you could even, you know, instead of gluing this on, you could just do a little belly band and stick it in there, or you can just tuck it into little pockets. You could even just paper clip it on. I decided to glue it on. I don't know how usable the very back will be, but I could stick something on there. So there's idea number 6. Just take a little pad and turn it into a booklet or a note card. So there are my ideas. So then what I decided to do for my inspired junk journalers, and I'm probably have most of you watching these as well. So I thought I would make some printables, and I have this one and I have another one, which is actually I think still on the printer, that are in strips. So then you can cut along the strips, and I have this page of notebook paper. So I printed this on both sides, so you can stick this into your notebooks and make all kinds of different little versions of notebooks like I just showed you there. So I'm going to just work a little bit at a few of these, and I'm going to maybe decorate a couple of these ones that I had before, and I'll just give you a quick little peek at the end of how I did some of the decorating. Okay, so I played with these little notebooks for a bit and did a little bit of decorating. I'll probably add a little bit here and there as I find a place for them in my journals over the next bit. So I thought I would just kind of give you a quick little flip of what I did. This one was mostly done. I think I just put a flower there. Most of the florals in here that I've used are from the Junk Journal Studio Fussy Cut flowers. Love those kits. There's all different colors and styles of flowers in different sizes, so I've used a few of those. I've used a few labels from the Junk Journal Studio, quite a few labels from my Labels Galore collection on coffee. So here's one with, I just put one of my die cuts there and a label. This is one that opens. I think I showed you all of that, so I'm not going to show that again. This was just a washi tape sticker from the washi tape store, and one of my Labels Galore. Same thing with this one. Put a little piece of baker's twine there. This again was flower from the Junk Journal Studio Fussy Cuts and one of my Labels Galore. A lot of them I did that. This was just a leftover printable I had with fussy cut flower on it. And fussy cut flower in a label wrapped around. Just one of my Labels Galore. This is some Christian Words strips from the Junk Journal Studio. Fussy cut and one of those word strips again. I I'm not sure where that came from. Labels galore and one of my fussy cut flowers. I inked around the edges of a lot of these as well. And then these are the ones that I made with the printables that I have available for the Inspired Junk Journalers. So just cut various random sizes, made the booklets. I kind of just sort of decided what I wanted to do when I did it. So there's one just with the tab, labels galore. This one I just made an open booklet, no cover on it, and put a little word strip there. This one, this is the cover. And then this one opens like that. And I have one piece of paper here to write on, and then just a fussy cut flower here. I like to do no waste projects as much as possible, and I had a little piece of this and a little piece of this left, and I kind of put them together and just made a tiny little booklet. I think there's 2 pieces of paper there and just a little word strip, but that's cute for just tucking into a tiny little space and adding, you know, one more scripture or something. Here's just a labels galore. Here's a fussy cut flower. I like the square shape, so I did a couple like that, a fussy cut flower, another fussy cut flower, and labels galore. I like pairing those two. This one was just a die cut that I had put some crackle accents on and put that on there. This one was a landscape version one. Just put a label and a sentiment and a fussy cut. All 3 of those are from the Junk Journal Studio. Actually, this is from the Junk Journal Studio as well. And these are, this one and this one are in the freebies actually on her coffee shop. Here's another one with the Junk Journal Studio label and one of my labels galore. Here's one with one of my labels galore. Just kind of a little different. And this one I decided to make into a belly band, probably. So I'll just glue this onto a page, but this front of it will open. And there's a couple of pieces of paper. That's the landscape version as well. But this will be open for like a belly band tuck. So all different kinds of ways of doing these things. I really like these. I think, like I said before, like they just take up no space at all in a journal, and just add a little something, plus lots of room to journal in. So yeah, if you have some scraps, make some little booklets. Thanks for watching. Blessings.